Now in this there are many principles to be observed, many design principles for laying out a proper vastu home. The proportions, the outer proportions of the vastu building in terms of the height and the width and the length and its auspicious dimensions and the symmetry, all this is designed and calculated according to the ancient cosmic formulas which are stated in the Vedic texts. Every vastu building is a holistic structure of natural law, similar to the design of a galaxy or a planetary system like a solar system, even to a flower or to an atom. They all have a similar feature, and that is they are designed around and from a central point of wholeness, a point of totality which creates and maintains the structure. This point in Vedic architecture, STHAPATYA Veda, it has a name. It is called Brahmastan. That is the place of totality and wholeness, and such a place has to be maintained and designed in every man-made structure as well. This principle of nature is very carefully observed in Vedic architecture and also finds expression in the central symmetry and order of an ideal vastu home. And that house is then more than just a house. It becomes a real home, a home of natural law, where peace and happiness and prosperity is prevailing. Now similar rules are applied to the proportion of the buildings and the placement of the rooms and even the orientation of the permanent seats and the beds, which is determining in which direction we are sleeping or working, and this is controlling our day-to-day activity, so that natural law is always smiling on every aspect of our daily life. The strongest influence of natural law comes from the sun. Now on its path from east to west, from sunrise to sunset, the sun generates different types of energies. So when the sun is rising in the east, the total holistic influence of natural law that is dispelling the darkness of the night is coming as a floodlight towards the home, and what one is facing in the morning, that is lasting throughout the whole day. Now, if one is turning one's back to this very beneficial influence, supposedly if the home is having a western entrance, then one is in frustration, waiting all day for the sun to arrive, and then when it comes, it is sinking. So the energy of the day is sinking. The vitality of the day is sinking, and that is causing suffering. It is causing worry and sorrow and all kinds of lack, because the energy is gone. So there is lack of energy, there's lack of vitality, there's lack of affluence, there's poverty. So it is very clear the influence and the characteristics of natural law can be observed in any home, whether it has this direction or that direction. It is a very clear thing. Natural law is natural law, and there is no discussion. So the house should be designed in such a way that the different energies of the sun correspond to the specific functions and the activities of each room. And then natural law is always supporting every aspect of our daily life. So for example, the dining room should be located there where the digestion is very much and most healthy. And the study should be located where the intellect is most lively and one can absorb knowledge best. And the living room should be located there where social life will enjoy great support. These are just examples. Now, when the house is designed in such a way, then it should also be established in its outer value, in the garden vastu as it is called, which is a perfectly oriented plot east-west and north-south, and then it becomes a real fortune-creating home, always blessing its inhabitants with perfect health and wealth and wisdom. When the whole building, inside and outside, is designed according to Vastu, our thoughts, feelings and actions spontaneously flow in the evolutionary direction for harmonious and peaceful living, life in harmony with natural law. So there are examples, we can go into the examples of good and bad effects of the orientation of buildings, because the direction of entrances, they have very different and specific effects. For example, the houses should always be laid out and aligned according to north-south and east-west. There should not be any rotation allowed. And then the entrance to the east, for example, is very auspicious, as we have mentioned. It contributes to all the positive effects of enlightenment and affluence and fulfillment. And then the opposite is of course also true when the house is having its entrance to the west, as we have explained before. Now when a building is rotated away from the cardinal directions, that is always inauspicious, never mind in which direction it is rotated. So all these intermediate directions which come from wrong city planning, they are always causing inauspicious effects. Or for example, when the entrance is facing towards the south, that is bringing very destructive influences, problems and sufferings leading to accidents, etc. So such a door open to the south is like inviting all kinds of destructive influences to enter the home. So to summarize, all these wrongly placed entrances, they may contribute to inauspicious and negative influences like anger and aggression, or constant fear and poverty and problems, lack of vitality and success, and even chronic diseases, because these influences are there all the time, day after day. Houses are being built and then they stay there for 1 generation or 2 generations. And these violations of natural law, they accumulate day after day, year after year, like that, and they cause a cloud of social stress over the city, and in that city there no one is happy and no one is successful. As it says, violation of natural law is a criminal offense, and even if one does not know it, ignorance of law is no excuse. So everyone is affected, whether one knows it or whether one does it deliberately or unknowingly. These effects can easily be verified by anyone who lives in such an affected building. It's very easy to see and evaluate also the lives of one's friends or relatives. What is the quality of someone who lives in an east-facing house? What is the quality of life of someone who lives in a south or west-facing house, like that. In the same way, we can evaluate the examples of other parameters, like the good and bad effects of different slopes of the land, and which is having an influence on the fortune, health and prosperity of the people. For example, when the land is completely level, a level ground like flat as a mirror, that is always good, and that always brings all around prosperity. So that is a perfect building ground. When the site is sloping towards the east, that is also positive, that is contributing to good education, good reputation and perfect health. Now when a site is sloping down towards the south, that is generating the influence of financial loss, ill health and poverty. And then when the land is sloping down towards the west, that contributes to sorrow and poverty, because as we had mentioned before, if one is turning one's back towards the rising sun that is causing this influence of lack of energy and happiness, etc.